Hello, everyone, and welcome to the live Akashic Messages with me, Natasha. And today, our session is going to be just a little bit different in the sense that I've been at the hospital for most of today, just going through a procedure with one of my daughters. So my frequency isn't quite where I'd like it to be to do messages, and I don't know about the accuracy of it. And I literally just got in, which is why I'm a little bit late, but I did not want to disappoint. So I thought for this session, I will do my regular meditation, and then I will open up to you asking me anything you'd like around Akashic Records, around my life, or anything else that you would like. I'm happy to answer any questions, and I'm sorry if you're disappointed and you would like a message. But I don't know how accurate I will be, and I'd rather just not do it. So let's jump in. Thank you so much for the positive juju, and for coming in from Alberta. But today's session will be a little bit different, in the sense that I'm happy to answer any questions you may have around spirituality, Akashic Records, spirituality and business, whatever it may be. I'm happy to be here, or even if you have any questions for me. But let's start by meditating. So let's close our eyes. Let's take a couple of deep breaths, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Now let's visualize a golden flame coming into the top of your head, opening up your crown chakra and strengthening the connection between you, your guides, your ancestors, your own Akashic records, and creator. And allow this golden light to start flooding throughout your auric field as it moves down your body into your mind. See it activating your seat of intuition. See it clearing your thoughts. See new neural pathways starting to build. As you allow this golden energy to continue to move down into your throat, clearing your avenues of self-expression. Allowing you to communicate your truth, your wants, your needs, your desires. Clearing this chakra so that you are seen, so that you are heard. As it makes its way down and activates into the heart space, reigniting or allowing to shine brighter the divinity that you already are. And allow this to continue to move through your nervous system, through all aspects of you and your auric field. As now from your heart you visualize a diamond white light, and allow that diamond white light to continue to move down from your heart into your solar plexus. Allow it to ignite your power, your courage, your joy. And by power will mean the passion, the purpose, the power to be who you are uniquely in this world, the courage to be who you are in this world. As you allow this diamond white light to move down into the sacral, clearing this chakra on all layers or levels and all dimensions. Allow it to activate your seat of creation so that what you see, you manifest into physical reality. And allow this diamond white energy to move down into the root. Allow it to clear this chakra on all layers, all levels, and all dimensions. Activating the trust within oneself, the trust within Creator. And allow it to continue to move down your legs and out through the soles of your feet, connecting into the crystalline energy that gives life to every living thing. And as we connect into this energy, we feel this beautiful pull into the ground, as if Mother Earth's giving us a beautiful hug and reminding us that we belong, reminding us that being human is an extension of nature. And as we bring our attention back into the heart, fully connected, fully grounded, fully divine and fully human, all at the same time. We take a deep breath and we exhale, and we know all is well. One more deep breath and integrate that and allow it to keep working. So everybody, today's session is going to be a little bit different. I can definitely bring us all in and do a healing and activations for sure. But today, because I've been in an environment that's not great, which is the hospital, my energy is a little bit flat. And when we connect to the Akashic Records, what happens is that you match the frequency of the information that you're receiving. So the higher you try and keep your energy, the more information is available to you. So I don't know what my accuracy is today. So today I'll just answer a few questions around me, or the Akashic Records, or spirituality in general, or feel free to share your experiences as well. So good morning, Marisol. Thank you for sending positive healing. Hi, Sally. So good to see you from Alberta. Jojo, a very good friend of mine. She's amazing. Follow her on her channel as well. Yeah, I know you haven't catched me in a long time. And then today of all days, I'm not giving messages. Yeah, catch Joe. She's also extremely gifted in all of this. And she's on Instagram and on Facebook. So, hi, Natasha. How did you come to be able to connect to the Akashic Records? That's a very good question. So, like, I was very lucky to be born to a spiritually gifted family. So, for me, this world was very, very normal. My mom actually used to send me to Sunday school so that I could fit in and be normal like everybody else. So, that was quite interesting. But where I formalized my training as the Akashic Records is that I never thought I'd be able to do this for a living. So I went out and I joined the corporate world. I was so grateful to work for some really advanced companies, really pushing the boundaries of what they did. So I worked for an internet service provider and I worked for an IPTV solutions provider as well, both very, very successful companies. And then when I was going through all of this, I had switched off my spirituality for a little bit because I was born in South Africa and all my family stayed behind in South Africa as I came to travel Europe. So there was a stage where it became quite scary for me and I'd kind of like switched off my spirituality, at about 21. Plus I was kind of like traveling and I I wanted to be a teenager. So it kind of like allowed me to, I suppose my learning continued, but I used to one of the things as a teenager I used to say, it's not fair because the more you know, the more rules there are to play by, right? So that became quite interesting. So I kind of blocked off my spirituality for a while and then moved from Edinburgh to Canada. And Canada has this, well, where I was in Alberta. And in Alberta, they have this beautiful lake called Lake Louise. And Lake Louise is actually a portal. So when I moved to Canada, my spiritual gifts started to awaken. And at the same time, I started to hit burnout in the corporate world. And I decided to go back to my roots in spirituality to actually help myself. And what happened was I looked up hands-on healing and Reiki kind of popped up. And I thought, oh, it must be called Reiki. So off I went and I did a Reiki course. And then I'm quite statistical, so I enjoyed, I needed a little bit more. And then I ended up finding craniosacral therapy. And at the same time, I was working with a friend of mine. We used to do a lot of shares. And she had a friend coming over and teaching people how to do the Akashic Records. And it was a, so I did that course and it reawakened my spiritual gifts. So that was quite beautiful in that sense of reawakening my third eye and being able to help people. And then I ended up using the Akashic Records to do a lot of my own healing, to find my own, questions, because why was a very big thing that I always used to ask myself. Why is it, that, I'm going through this? Why is it that this person's in my life? Why is it that this job came into my life? So that's a very long-winded story, but I learned the technique on how to connect to the Akashic records, and based on a lot of the knowledge and wisdom that I had growing up, I kind of like tweaked it, which is the way I use it now today. So between healing and Akashic records, that's how I got connected to the Akashic records. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I will do a healing and an activation at the end, Colleen. Absolutely, for all of us. Oh yeah, I love that story. Okay, let's just see here. Angela, my message just disappeared. We'll bring it back again. Um, Sally, I love the story of your family lineage. Yeah, I'm very, very lucky. I feel very, very grateful for that. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, switching between timelines, or the higher I go, the more my shadow comes. And how do I work with the Akashic Records to stabilize that? So it's a very good question. Again, I'm not answering this from the Akashic Records from my experience. As we move through timelines, it becomes very important. So it's almost kind of like, when you work on your crown chakra, it's important to work on your root chakra at the same time. Or when we have an awakening, it's usually followed by very much a deep healing experience that comes through. And that's because these two chakras tend to work together. So the more higher you go, I suppose, in timelines, so the higher the frequency, the more grounded one needs to be. The more the shadow comes, the more that healing needs to be done. So, and usually what I say with when the shadow does come, absolutely feel it 100% and then let it go, sit with it, understand it, and then let it go. And you also ask, can you also work in the Akashic records to stabilize this? Absolutely. Sometimes finding out why you're going through certain things helps you to understand it. And once you understand something, we tend to surrender to it. And once we surrender to it, things tend to kind of like move forward a lot faster. So, yes, absolutely. I use the Akashic Records very much to do a lot of my healing. And so opening up the Akashic Records, asking a question and journaling it. So there's a lot of meditations on my channel that will guide you through opening up the records. Just switch out one of my questions for one of your own, and start getting messages of your own through that. And then it will help you close that off as well. I think they used to be called Sundays with Natasha that I used to do a lot of Akashic meditations for that. Yeah. Oh, Joe, I'm glad I'm here too, as well. So I'm glad I managed to make it. It was just like I thought we weren't going to make it, and we had tons of time today as well. Okay, Lily, what guidance do the Akashic Records offer around major decision making in business? Oh, that's such a good question. I'm starting to dive more into this and focusing more on helping conscious leaders to do conscious business. Um, and what guidance the Akashic Records can offer is when we open up the Akashic Records, basically there's a lot of potentialities that are available to us. So our records have all the probabilities and all the possibilities available to us. Because a business is of sorts its own being, its own entity. I mean, we refer to business as a baby, right? There are there is already a soul map that is open or that is available to businesses. So connecting into the Akashic records of your business helps you connect to that guidance, but a conscious guidance to seeing what is the best way to manage business, what is the best opportunities, what is the most conscious potentiality in a decision. And sometimes you'll get blueprints that you weren't, or ideas, I suppose, that you weren't even aware were possible. So around major decisions, I would definitely open up the records as well. And don't forget a lot of the greats, Steve Jobs, a lot of kind of like, Ariana Huffington from the Huffington Post, all these people, these trailblazers, there's always a way of finding that quiet within. Now, Akashic Records helps me do that, but it also allows me to have access to so much information as well. The other thing that's pretty interesting with the Akashic Records for business is that there are contracts that the business has with its employees, with its suppliers, with its clients that already exist. So as the business's frequency shifts, it activates all of those contracts that are available out there. So that also, making a major decision like, hiring somebody or putting somebody in a position, knowing what the business's contract is with that person can also help to guide some of those decisions that are being made as well. But that's just very, very surface. It's very quite multi-dimensional as well. But you can absolutely download the blueprint of projects, of services, um, you know, new products, how they work, how departments can streamline. And that's the most fascinating thing. Imagine if, in these big corporates, especially if they became conscious that all departments were actually aligned to the spiritual blue contract of why that business exists. So I'm very passionate about teaching people how to access that because I think if we start doing conscious business, and living a conscious life, that I think we can change the world and make it a better place. So thank you for asking that question. I hope that answered that for you, Lily. Okay, and thank you. Okay, so Starlight, I'm also in Canada in Ontario, and I've always wanted to go to Lake Louise. So it's Lake Louise is absolutely stunning. So if you can make it there, it's the Archangel Michael portal of the world. So it's absolutely incredible. I usually walk past the lake and then I go and meditate in the back there. And I've always had some really beautiful visions. And now that winter's coming, you can actually stand on the lake. It freezes over, and that's also beautiful. So I'd say absolutely go there. Okay. Why kids don't clean their rooms, Angela? I don't know. I have teenagers as well. It depends. You know what I did? I connected to an astrologer. Her name is Eve, and I got my kids' astrological charts read. Now, there's so many different flavors of astrology, but Eve, and I can leave her details in the group earlier, and so that you can connect to her. She's an evolutionary astrologer, and she helped me to understand my kids. a little bit more. And one of my kids also has a very untidy room, whereas the other one has a very, very neat room. And she helped me to understand that my one daughter needs a little bit of that chaos, but also she needs structure. So it kind of like ended up working out well that, okay, once a week, if you tidy your room, clean it completely, and then during the week, just close the door and just not look at it. That's where her safe space was. So I will, yeah, so I will definitely, it's my suggestion, reach out to Eve or get to understand why your kids do what they do. That might help as well. Hope that helps, Angela. Yes, Joe, I did. I loved playing around on the records with you or learning how to work with them. How lovely to hear your journey. Thank you for sharing. Yes, Jojo B, the UKs are going nuts. Come. Yeah, the UK is going a little bit crazy. The energy here is a little bit crazy, and that's perhaps why I was guided to be here as well. Um, in the middle of the crazy, which is beautiful. Okay, Gerard, with Reiki, going from level 2 to 3, how did you notice the difference with regards to your gifts? That's a very, very good question. So, with regards to level 3, you get a different activation as well. And it's like anything, the more you use it, the stronger it becomes as well. So it's not that I noticed a big difference because of the Reiki. Yes, it was a different activation, but it's really, I mean, all of these things are important, and it's the knowledge and wisdom that we use as well. But it was more in the constant practicing of it. And with Reiki level 3, one thing that I did learn is that when you do become a teacher, that there becomes a certain responsibility that we hold, especially if you're going to be teaching and attuning other people. Is I started to notice I had some people that would come and redo their Reiki with me because they'd fallen out with their teacher or their instructor. And what I noticed when I reattuned students is, one, the frequency of the previous teacher was still there, which showed me the level of responsibility it is as a teacher. So having that Reiki master, we have to take it quite seriously because we end up being connected, which is why in Reiki you look at the lineage, which is why they tell you who your lineage is from. And then the other thing that I noticed as well is my attunement started to change as well. So each student that I attuned, they were ended up being kind of like individual attunements until now I actually the way I attune students, and this is probably not, the mainstream way of doing it, is I actually take students through a meditation and a guidance and an activation, not by me, but by Dr. Usui himself. So I don't know if that's just kind of like a peace of mind that it is, completely an activation through Dr. Usui. But that's the biggest thing that I noticed with any of the courses that I did. The more you practice, the more you build that muscle, the easier, the better it becomes. So well done you. If you're taking level 3, that is incredible. We always need more Reiki, not less in this world, which is beautiful. Um, oh, okay. So let's just see, where are we now? Okay. Angela, I just wrote it again. Okay, I'll have a look at that. Alva, how does it feel for you to be in the Akashic Records of someone or yourself? That's a brilliant question. So when I'm in my own records, because I've practiced it, like in any of the records that I'm in, I find this automatic, it's almost like I drop into this calm or the 0 point where it's just calm. It's like time stands still. And the 0 point is there's no charge. It's in open to receiving. Now, when I first started going into my records, I have a guide that I work with. His name is Emmanuel in the Akashic Records, or the Lord of the Akashic Records. I also used to work with or still work with as well. And then sometimes I'll have different energies like Metatron or some of the angels or some of the star beings that I connect to. But when I started connecting for other people's records, it actually changed throughout time when how I connected to the records. So when I first used to connect into the records, I was taken into their hall of records. So I would see it as a whole, as a room, as a grand room, and it usually had a theme to it. So I would explain the theme. And then when those clients came back, I knew I was in the same room. I'd remember that I was in that same room. And then it changed in a sense where I'd meet their guide in that room, or I'd meet, get the information from that. And then it changed again where I would take them through a tour of their own hall of records and then give them information. And then after that, it changed very much so once again, where I ended up into a past life or a future life that pertained to where they are in this very moment. And then the other thing is, so now when I connect into the records, which you tend to see now, is I get a physical sensation, and then I get very much the messages that come through. And they usually come through as a knowing, or I tend to see it. And then that's what I say. I have made a massive deal with my guides that they do not show me what I cannot express. So I don't want to be deciding on any information, which is why I think it's pretty quick when the messages come in. I just know, and I just kind of like just say what comes in. And sometimes as I'm reading the message, your question or your request, I'm already receiving the information that comes in. So I'm very, very gifted. But sometimes it does feel, depending on the frequency of the person, it can feel quite different from that stage. That's a very interesting question. Thank you for asking that, Elvira. Okay. Yes, why is always a big question. I always knew that if I knew why, I would be more likely to take instruction. Otherwise, I'd probably just rebel against it. So the whys have helped me to heal quite a bit. So the Akashic Records helps with that as well. Hello, Natasha. I have a persistent issue on the left side of my body, a year-long elbow rash, hip, knee, and feet pain. I have autoimmune issue, but nothing conclusive after many tests. Again, I'm not in the records, but usually what happens on the left-hand side is usually related to the feminine energy. And usually it's about nurturing, taking care of yourself, which is important. And when we start looking at skin rashes, it's usually about being comfortable in one's skin or perhaps living somebody else's life. Hips and knees are all about flexibility and moving, continuing to move forward. Feet pain is definitely part of a resistance to continuing walking on the path that you're walking on now. And that's just in general when we look at things. Louise Hay has an amazing book that might help with that as well. But yeah, perhaps maybe next week we can look into a little bit closer. So please pop in again next week and let's have a look at it from an Akashic perspective. Starlight. I also switched off my gifts for clairvoyance and clairaudience, but it was not intentional. No. When I had a spiritual awakening, was still very low vibe, and I saw and heard a lot of negative and scary. Yeah, that can be quite scary, especially at the beginning. So when I was a kid, I used to be able to feel things, and that was quite scary because when you feel it, you don't know if it's good, bad, or ugly. At least when you see it, you know how to deal with it. But again, yeah, especially as kids, it becomes quite scary. I know with my children, it can be quite scary. So helping them to navigate through that, and yeah, it's a survival mechanism. But it's beautiful how our contracts always create that event for a spiritual awakening to happen. And as I say, when we start this journey, it's actually really is a journey of getting to know who we are, but most importantly, it's a journey of healing. So usually that frequency, those low frequencies, are really the traumas that we've experienced and the healing that needs to be done. So it becomes quite a journey, and I think we continue to heal. I don't think the healing ever stops. And it's more about how you approach the healing, because the healing, it's not that it becomes easy, but it does become easier, or we become more patient, more understanding, more accepting. We let go a lot faster. We don't hold on to things for such a long time. So that allows us to really, really let go and we start to get more compassion for ourselves and more understanding and less judgmental. And that helps us to start moving through a lot of our healing. And then the more healing we do, the lighter our frequency, because we're not carrying all these, dense energies within us. The more compassionate we are for other people as well. And that starts to open up all sorts of beautiful remembrance that we are all divine, which is beautiful. So things I've been waiting for them to come back online again. So yeah, so when I switched off my my clairvoyant abilities, and I used to do a lot of automatic writing, after I did my Akashic course, I was like, oh my goodness, they're back. Okay, so can I have all of my messages back now, all of my gifts back? And my guide said, no, you have to work through them. So even though I've gotten a lot of more of my gifts have come online, they've come back online a little bit different, but it helped me to understand what it's like for people when they're first starting off again, because if I never had that reference point, I wouldn't be able to help people. So know that everything happens as we choose it to happen, which becomes important. So yes, once we surrender, things do move more quickly. Hi, Viviani. Thank you for joining us today. Perry. Hi, Natasha. Good to see you. I'm feeling very disconnected from my metaphysics, no interest. Could I get any information about what's going on? So I can tell you, again, I'm not connecting into the records today as well, just because of the day I've had and yeah, just that frequency around just being at the hospital. So I usually get quite tired when I'm at the hospital. So I don't want to disappoint anyone. So feeling disconnected from our metaphysics, that's okay. Sometimes it's okay. Just allow it in that sense. So no interest, that's okay. You might be dealing with a lot of everyday things. And we're never disconnected from our metaphysics. It's just kind of like we're more conscious of it or less conscious of it. And that's because we're focusing on other things. And that's okay. So absolutely, I wouldn't judge or anything. I also don't force anything. You'll find something that will show up for you to get excited about, which is amazing. So yeah, don't give yourself a hard time. It's okay to be where you are. And I think there's a lot of physical 3D things that you're dealing with, which is called life. Because again, we are spiritual beings having a physical experience. So perhaps you're focusing more on your physical experience right now, Perry. Hope that's helpful. Gina, the part where your frequency affects the quality of your readings really spoke to me. Yeah, I'll pass this on to my friend, yeah, Claire, who is struggling with cancer. So love you. The other thing is with our frequency, yes, we always attract towards us the people that are in alignment at that time. But with these readings, I do try to because there's so many people and holding space for so many people, I do tend to keep this yeah, where I am. But our frequency does make so I always tend to ground, center, and connect before I do anything else, and that's quite important. It's important to be in that space of neutral, which is great. So thank you. Gina, please pray for my friend Claire who's struggling with cancer. She gave me permission to ask for her. Thank you. Absolutely. We'll definitely send her love, light, and definitely send our prayers for her as well. Yes, I will provide Eve's contacts in the information underneath this video. Absolutely. It was so interesting to find out what my children are here to do. So for one of them, it's like really, really important to be social and all the rest of that. And it's quite interesting how the Akashic Records connects in with that as well, whereas the other child is learning to be more social. And yeah, it's absolutely beautiful in different ways. Jeff Siegel, hello, Natasha, may I please have a message from my guide? I'm not giving messages today, Jeff, but next week, definitely we'll jump in. So if you haven't slept for 3 nights, yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of frequency changes that are happening at the same time right now. The world, the planet is leveling up, and just as those shadows come up, the frequencies for us start to change as well. And as we do quite a bit of healing, our bodies need to catch up. And I believe that we are receiving a lot of codes, a lot of information, a lot of activations while we sleep, especially if it comes in for the last kind of like between 3 o'clock in the morning to about 5. Usually that is a good way to, a good time that we tend to receive our messages. But yeah, sleep has been quite has not been quite the same for me either. It's very much about what's happening in the world right now. A lot of planetary shifts are becoming more important. We're also becoming more conscious. So as a collective, we're starting to shift together, which is great. So yeah, just take it easy and listen to your body is important to have a look at for sure. Okay, and a lighter. Also, don't look in my daughter's room. Yeah, Sally, yes, I always open my records and the business records when I'm working on something or even working in my shop for, yes, enhanced creativity and problem solving. It's amazing the problem solving that comes up when you're in your records for life and business. Absolutely. So that's yeah, very, very interesting. Um, Angela. Responding to inner light, but now not even possible to walk into their rooms. Yeah, it's quite horrid. Hello, beautiful soul. Hope the weekend's going. Natasha always brings such wonderful and positive information. Oh, thank you, Karen. Absolutely. Lotus, your channel has great videos. I'm seeing the playlist now. Also appreciate a very efficient way of delivering messages. They to the point. Yeah, I'm quite lucky. My guides are quite straightforward, even though loving. They're very like they don't mince the information, which is beautiful as well, but yet still very, very compassionate and understanding, which is great. No worries, Karen. I'm just happy to see you there. Rada, Natasha, thank you for sharing and being present. Much love as always. Sending love back to you as well. Um, yes, Perry, yeah. So good to see you here in a light. How can we benefit from knowing past lives? That's a fantastic question. We can actually use past lives as a type of therapy. So past lives one sometimes help us to understand the people in our lives because a lot of the times the people in our lives we've had past lives with them and we've had them in different roles, so sometimes they come back into that same role where, say for example, a child thinks they're your father or your partner thinks they're your mother or your parent, in certain ways, and that's because there's a past life there that is still trying to play out. Sometimes it comes in also with like how we are fascinated by different things, different countries, different cultures, and places we've never been. Could be that past life of us was very, very significant. But along with past lives, the other thing that is super interesting is working with future lives. And future lives could bring us so just like past lives help us to understand why, they could also help us to activate gifts that we really, really had in those lifetimes. But sometimes the traumas in those lifetimes also follow into this one. So sometimes understanding the origin and healing it at that origin helps us to heal all the lives that are going through and expressing the same type of themes. So when we start looking at future lives, they also can bring in those beautiful gifts that we are needing. And if we start looking at one more of that, is not only past and future lifetimes, but parallel lifetimes. So parallel lifetimes, and this is a lot of Dolores Cannon's work, is offshoots of, I suppose, of this lifetime. When we've had to make those really, really big decisions, there's a timeline, a reality that will continue to live out that decision that we never did. I mean, think about how efficient that is because we get to experience all those things in those lifetimes. And those parallel realities are also beautiful because we're learning different things and we're expanding in different ways and we can share that knowledge and wisdom. So past lives can help us to heal, but it also can help us to activate certain gifts that we already have, which is pretty incredible within us. And yeah, some again, the understanding of why people do the things that they do is uh, very, very interesting, and sometimes helps us to forgive, helps us to be compassionate, but also helps us to make the decisions that we need to make. So that is a brilliant question. Thank you for asking that. Okay, Lydia, thank you for speaking about the energy in the hospitals. I feel like I really needed to hear that after working there for the last 6 weeks and feeling very off since. So it's very important because there's a lot of, again, it's you're going deep into that healing aspect. Yeah, I always get tired. I always spend like 2, 3 hours when I'm there, and it's usually on a monthly basis. So I usually need a nap. And I think because we're naturally empathic, we're natural healers, there's a lot of energy, even though we're not doing the healing. So that is one thing for me as well, is that when I am not doing the work, I tend to be as human as I can be. So I just become a mum, a friend, a daughter, whoever I am, when I'm not doing this work. So even though I'm always guided by spirit, I'm not always tapped in. So it's also very important for me when I go into very, very public places as well. I usually like to create a safe and sacred space for the work, but being naturally empathic, we will pick up a lot of the energies around our environment. So, yeah, hospitals are interesting places. It's places that can bring extreme joy and extreme sadness and extreme fear and extreme like love all at the same time and extreme gratitude. I mean, I can't complain about the children's staff in Edinburgh or in Calgary in Alberta. They've always been incredible people, and they're very, very specially guided people as well. So beautiful. It's always good to clear our energy afterwards. So take a shower as soon as you get home so that we can release all those energies that we've picked up from the day. It's the same as being in very public places. So if you get the train or the bus or airplanes, we're sitting in each other's energy fields, right? Our aura kind of like extends out about, depending on our health and our excitement and our joy, and our spirituality, about, 1 meter, 2 meters, 3 meters. And when we're sitting in a hospital or in a public place, we're all sitting in each other's energy. Hospitals, especially, people are going through certain things. So there's a lot of, I suppose, lower frequencies that are there as well. So yeah, that talks about that as well. So Angela, yes, Natasha has wonderful videos, lives and shorts. Yeah, thank you so much. I've watched the Reiki videos multiple times. Yes, the Reiki videos are there, very, very powerful too. And I started those when COVID started. So and I had a team. It wasn't just me. I had actually a team of other Reiki practitioners that were supporting that, and that's what also makes those pretty powerful too. So Jeff, hi Natasha, sorry you tuned in late, haven't been. Oh, so good to see you. Just join in, Jeff, whenever you can, which is awesome. Yuri, so good to be back here. So good to see you as well. I like the terminology leveling up. Absolutely, so true. From Karen, I wonder if there are Arcturians, your guides. They tend to be serious. Yeah, so I have a mixture of guides that come in that sense. Yeah, huh. Yeah, I have different guides for different work that I do as well. So yeah, think one of them is part of the Arcturians that I've come in as well. Yeti, not doing messages today just because I've been there. Um, yes, sorry about that. Yeah, Joe, naps are the best friend ever. Yes, I like it's amazing, a 10, 20 minute nap just kind of like, just helps us just to recharge our batteries and recenter. Absolutely. So Karen's also worked in hospital for many years, so learned a lot of, cleansing and cord cutting due to that. Yeah, it's amazing. Nothing happens by accident. We all yeah, everything's a learning and a journey, which is super exciting. Any other questions for me or any suggestions of what you would like? I'm doing a blueprint meditation tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. UK time, and those we'll also give messages. They're smaller groups, and the messages are a little bit longer. So I'll add in the link to that as well. And those happen once a month. There's also fire cleanses on the channel as well. And I do a monthly fire cleanse that's specific to people's requests as well. And the fire cleanses are always good for clearing the energy, especially as the world shifts and changes right now. We're all going through a big change. A lot of our shadows are coming up to have a look. So that we can heal through them, so that we can raise our frequency. And especially for us in the Northern Hemisphere, I mean, think about it, we're going through autumn or fall, and it's time for shedding right now. So a lot of old stuff will come up to be released. Don't resist it, choose it, because then we'll move through it a lot faster and have patience and compassion for yourself, which is understanding. And get curious about why different situations are showing up. Like I say, whenever we get something that's like a cold or whenever we get ill, I always see it as either an activation or a clearing. Um, and so just see what it is, get curious about it. Okay, I think I've done everybody's questions. If there's anything else, please do definitely shout. And otherwise, next week, I will be no hospital appointments that week. I will be excited to be doing messages once more. I will be doing a live in Edinburgh Halloween with John Binney, where we will be doing an Activating Your Inner Witch program. So I'll add that in as well. And then tomorrow I will be going live with John on my channel for our Conscious Leadership podcast. So at about 10:30 UK time, I will be live on this channel once more, ready to answer any questions around mindful leadership and business. So thank you all so much. I absolutely love you. Thank you for being patient for me and entertaining a very bit of a different session with me today. Thank you, Viviani, for always supporting and invigilating or supporting everybody in this group as well and supporting me. Also check out Viviani. She's also very gifted. So thank you. What a fabulous session. Oh, thank you so much, Caroline. See you all next week. Sending you all lots and lots of love. And thank you all for the love that you give me as well. Have an amazing week, and I'll see you all very